Raise your hand if you think President Trump's policies on the economy would be better for your family personally.
For sure. A lot of my friends are obviously my age, so we're a little younger. We've only voted once, for a president. And Trump is kind of all we know. And they're kind of Trump and Biden. They're like, well, we were broke with Biden. We weren't with Trump.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope all's good wherever you are. This is a hilarious video. This is what happens when these leftist woke media people get out of their leftist woke media little bubble and go actually talk to real people. That's like when you hear Bill Maher or Oprah spewing nonsense, but they're so disconnected from the average man and woman, Mr. and Mrs. Middle Class America. This was great. Let's check it out.
So as much as these undecided voters are unsure about the candidates, however undefined their decision-making process appears to be, you can see what issues are foremost in their minds in this critical swing county. But what is maybe just as interesting is what was not on the minds of those undecided voters. Issues that have received a ton of media attention in this state and in this election. Issues like abortion access and Donald Trump's lawlessness covered exhaustively by the national news media. Those were not the kinds of things these undecided voters were focused on. Does anybody have any idea about what's happening in the federal courts relating to Donald Trump's the January 6th event and what's going on there with Trump? Wait, I'm sorry to keep going back to you, but so you haven't talked to me about your level of interest in the criminal charges and so forth.
February 6th?
January 6th.
So I remember that day. I know he was the standing president. I'm not familiar with the charges that are being brought against him for that. I'm not following that charge I know there's multiple court cases going on. I'm just not familiar with it.
I mean, that doesn't sound like it's going to be a factor in deciding who to vote for.
No.
Okay, so when I say January 6th, what do you think?
Oh, I just remember seeing it on the news, like all the riots and stuff. Don't really know what it was about or what happened, though.
How did it make you feel when you saw it?
I don't know. I don't really feel any way about it. People showed their emotion, I guess. Probably in the wrong way, but it happened.
Who here has been following the decisions from the Supreme Court? Raise your hands.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm seeing only a handful. Who here knows what the Dobbs decision is? One person. Okay, that's super interesting. What about abortion? Is that an issue that you think?
I think it's a woman's right.
Yeah.
Nobody should be able to dictate that at all.
And what do you think of Trump's position on abortion?
I think he's anti, isn't he?
Yeah.
He wants to control that.
Yeah, well,
I don't think he has any business even talking about.
What about abortion? Reproductive choice. Is that something that you guys think about? Is it something that concerns you?
I think each side is a little too crazy. They need to meet in the middle.
What do you mean by that?
I think they go too much one way and then too much the other way.
So you think Democrats are too open-ended on abortion and Republicans are too restrictive?
Yep.
Okay. What about you? Is it something you think about?
Same as her.
Same as her?
I think there's some middle ground there.
Something you think about?
I don't know.
You don't have to? Well,
I don't really have an opinion on it. I haven't looked into it or even thought about it, really.
it is a stunning reminder that stories the national media covers intensely, stories which certainly matter to a considerable number of Americans in general, that those stories are not necessarily the deciding factors for these elusive undecided voters, especially undecided voters who don't get their news from traditional media and who may not even be particularly interested in current events in general. For those voters, what matters most, what may ultimately determine their vote this year, are the conversations they have within their community. In this case, that means fellow members of their union, of Local 85, and especially those members who have made up their minds and who understand the stakes of the 2024 election.
How are these leftoids still on January 6th? What kills me is that we've had two people that tried to take out President Trump, and you never hear about this, right? The left will not talk about it. We had the vice presidential debate. We had the presidential debate with Trump and Harris, not once was this mentioned. And this is by design. Okay, this is the mainstream media moving in lockstep together. That's why it's not mentioned. This is social engineering. They're going to act like this never happened, but yet if something is convenient for them, such as January 6th, they will keep talking about this issue. But the economy is so bad, and the border is a big problem with people illegally coming into the country. We don't know who these people are. Inflation. The average middle-class American doesn't care about January 6th. They want to know where their dollar is going to go further. And Kamala Harris's quote-unquote opportunity economy, nobody knows what that is. She doesn't do interviews. People want to know what's going to happen because the price of gas and food, pick something, everything is up 10 to 50% more than it was when Trump was in office. That's what people want to know. How are you going to help me? How is your plan going to help me? The prices of homes right now, George Orwell's 1984, was a quote in the book, "Accept an endless present in which the party is always right." Right now we have what happened with Hurricane Helen. Kamala Harris is out there telling people we're going to maybe give you $750. $750 when you've lost everything is not going to do squat for you, but yet they're sending another, $24 billion to the Ukraine. These people do not care about us. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They care about nobody but themselves. And this is why they push these narratives and always go back to stuff like January 6th or Trump is like Hitler. One, you should never make that comparison because if history, Hitler was a horrible human being. And we know what Trump was like in office. We had the guy there. And we know what it's like with Kamala in office. She was there. This is one of the 2 elections in history that you have a track record of both people. And the fact of the matter is, everything was better. Whether you like the guy or not, even if you don't like him. Vote on the policies. Vote on where you want America to be in 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Don't vote for somebody just because she's a woman. Shit's not going to get better for you. Let's get back to the video.
Who here is voting for the first time? Is this anybody's first election? You guys back here. What's sort of made its way across your radar? Any stories or issues or positions?
Mostly just immigration.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? What about immigration have you been paying attention to?
There are thousands and thousands of illegal immigrants coming across the border every day, and the vice president has done minimal work to fix that based on what I've seen. So I'd like that to change.
Do you feel like Donald Trump's going to be better on that issue?
Based on what we've seen on his first 4 years, I do believe that he will be better on that. Yeah.
Are you leaning towards Trump right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anything that Vice President Harris could do at this point to change your mind?
Not particularly, no. Unless she changes her stance completely on fixing the border. That's no.
This is your first election?
Yeah, it is.
And have you been paying attention to stuff?
Some things, but as of right now, it's kind of hard to know what is true and what's false as far as both parties are concerned.
Like, what issue matters to you the most?
Definitely our issues concerning democracy and what was discussed before the border.
What about immigration concerns you?
The influx in illegal immigration is affecting a lot more than just the people, but our economy, we're losing jobs for the people who live here. People are, running out of work, and in return, it's making life as a whole for the country harder.
Do you feel like one candidate or the other is better on that issue?
Like I said, I don't know what to believe from what I'm seeing from multiple news outlets and what comes across my news feed and whatnot. So I'm not super opinionated either way.
How do you think you're going to ultimately decide? I know we talked to one gentleman who said, I think I'm just going to kind of go with my heart on election day.
As the election comes a little closer, I think the more I see and the more truth that ends up coming out, I'll be able to make a more educated.
Everybody's always talking about how the polls are so close right now. I think some of these polls are manufactured because I don't see how it could be close. Maybe at the beginning when Kamala was first introduced and she was the party of joy or the party of the vibe. At the end of the day, you need your dollars to go further for you, for your family. And like I said, even if you don't like Donald Trump, he is the better option. Vote for where you want the country to be in 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, smash that thumbs up button. Consider subscribing to the channel. Help it grow. Catch you all in the next video. Peace out, everybody.